Hello boys, welcome back to another session of video tutorials. This session is meant for class 12th biology students and this is for 5th August 2020. Our memory as usual helps us in reflecting upon what we have studied. If you recollect from your memory, we were studying about the gene interaction in that single gene inheritance and double gene inheritance. In the double gene inheritance, the concept was understood with dihybrid cross. We have taken the example of dihybrid cross with two characters at a time. The characters or traits that we have taken is the seed color, pea seed color. Is it green or yellow? Second, the texture of the seed. Was it wrinkled or round? So, two characters at a time we have considered. That's why we said dihybrid cross. I hope you have practiced by taking some other characters and you could arrive the phenotypic ratio in the F2 generation as 9:3:3:1. And I will be posting some questions relating to dihybrid cross in our WhatsApp group. Please solve and post your answers back to me. With that in our background, let's go into today's topic. This is also a very important topic. It's a blend of the chromosomes as well as the Mendelian factors. And the Mendelian factors today we are calling them as genes. So, chromosomal theory of inheritance. What is the reason for this theory to come up? There was an argument whether the chromosomes all together will be inherited or is it only the genes that are present in the chromosomes will be inherited. So, for this to explain better, Mendel's laws will be used and can be explained this chromosomal theory of inheritance through Mendel's laws. So who proposed this? It was proposed in the year 1902 by two scientists, Walter Sutin and Theodore Boveri. So we say Sutin and Boveri. They work out the chromosome movement during meiosis. And in particular, during anaphase 1 and anaphase 2, the chromosomes move to different poles. I said North Pole and South Pole. All along the lines are fibers, cytoplasmic fibers or spindle fibers. And this movement of chromosomes as well as chromatids will be seen during anaphase. In particular, if you recollect your previous knowledge, in anaphase 1, it is the chromosomes that move. In anaphase 2, it is the chromatids that move. That's the difference between anaphase 1 and anaphase 2. So the movement and behavior of chromosomes was parallel to the behavior of genes. The chromosome movement is used to explain Mendel's laws. Already we discussed three Mendel's laws: law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. So the knowledge of chromosomal segregation with Mendelian principles is called chromosomal theory of inheritance. So this chromosomal theory of inheritance states that the Mendelian factors, or what we call now genes, are located at specific locus on the chromosomes, and it is the chromosome that segregate and assert independently during meiosis and recombine at the time of fertilization in the zygote. That's why Mendel called it as law of independent assortment. So according to this, the chromosome and genes are present in pairs in diploid cells. I said diploid, di means two, ploid means sets. two sets of chromosomes are present. Like in our case, human cell, 23 pairs. So 23 is one set, 23 pairs, so 2n. Homologous chromosomes are the chromosomes that look alike in their structure. Length, weight, the genes that they carry, all will be looking similar, homologous chromosomes. They separate during gamete formation, during meiosis, And fertilization restores the chromosome number to diploid condition. Like sperm is having n number, egg is having n number. When both the gametes, sperm and egg, fuse together, you get zygote, which is 2n. So, thus, zygote, which is the resultant of fertilization, restores 2n number or chromosome number. So, identity of the species will continue. So, how can we explain this chromosomal theory of inheritance? This is the possibility. There are two possibilities. Possibility number one, you can see in the diagram, one long orange and short green chromosome. One long orange and short. And another pair, long yellow and short red chromosome at the same pole. This is in anaphase 1, meiotic 1, anaphase 1. And what happens during anaphase 2? The chromatids are getting separated. Look at that. The orange, long orange and short green chromosomes are getting separated. And in the germ cells, at the end of say telophase 2, what happens? From one parental cell, 4 daughter cells are formed. And these 4 daughter cells will be having the chromatids like this. So the germ cells means either sperm or ovum or pollen grain or ovum. So the possibility one is that you have got in every germ cell one orange, long and green short chromosome in 2 of them, repetition. And in another 2 germ cells, it is long yellow and short red chromosome. So this is the resultant of germ cell formation. What is the possibility 2? One long orange and short red chromosome and long yellow and short green chromosome at the same pole. So quite reverse of that. In this left side diagram you can see orange green here, orange red, yellow red here, and right side yellow green. Now during meiotic 2, that is anaphase 2, what happens? The chromosomes get separate. Homologous chromosomes are getting separated. And resultant of that is in germ cells, from one parental cell, 4 daughter cells are formed at the end of telophase 2, as you may recollect from meiosis. So each germ cell is having a chromatid. Now the variety. See in the left side diagram you can see orange long chromosome with green short. Here orange long with red short chromosome. Similarly, in the left side diagram you can see long yellow and short red. Here long yellow and green short. So this is how Mendel explained law of independent assortment. The chromosomes have got freedom to combine with anyone. It's not the rule that yellow chromosome should have a combination with red short chromosome. No, it can also have green short chromosome that exhibits law of independence, independent assortment. And what does it say? The salient features of this theory. Bridge between one generation and the next is through sperm and ovum. The two must carry all the hereditary characters. Both the sperm and the egg contribute equally in the heredity of offspring, as we understand. Nucleus contains chromosomes, therefore chromosomes must carry the hereditary traits. Every chromosome or chromosome pair has a definite role in the development of an individual. The chromosome retain their number, structure and individuality throughout the life of an organism and from generation to generation. The two neither get lost nor mixed up, independent assortment. They behave as units. Both chromosomes as well as genes occur in pairs in the diploid cells, as we have seen just now. A gamete contains only one chromosome of a type and only one of the two alleles of a trait. These are the salient features of Stewart, Sutton and Boveri's chromosomal theory of inheritance. Similarly, at the same time, another scientist has explained linkage, a phenomena called linkage. What is that? Linkage is the phenomena of certain genes staying together and their inheritance from generation to generation without any change or separation due to their presence on the same chromosome. And thanks to Thomas Hunt Morgan, in 1910 proved and defined linkage on the basis of his breeding experiments on fruit fly. You are seeing the fruit fly, and the scientific name of this fruit fly is Drosophila melanogaster. I'll repeat, Drosophila melanogaster, and you can also see female and male very clear distinction is there. So the linkage experiments that were conducted by T.H. Morgan in 1910 has proved that there is linkage between the genes. Now, why is that he has selected the fruit fly Drosophila melanogaster only? There are many reasons of course. One of the main reasons is that this completes life cycle in about 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks we can understand what are all the changes that the fruit fly undergoes. And you can grow this in our own lab. Just put some wax, the fruit fly will grow. And you have seen in your own home on banana, on apple, many flies will come. These are all fruit flies. So you can grow it in a simple synthetic medium, and it is very suitable for genetic studies. And a single mating could produce large number of progeny flies and varieties. And clear differentiation of male and female flies, as I have shown just now. Look at that. Male and female very clearly we can see, and then many types of hereditary variations can be seen with a low power microscope. What are the variations? We can see red eye, for example, black eye, so that is contrasting characters. Wings, short wings and long wings, another contrasting characters. Like that many varieties of characters can be seen, and with that Morgan could explain the linkage. That is, genes are arranged in a linear fashion on the chromosome. Some genes situated in close proximity are always inherited together because of linkage. They are linked together. Strength of linkage between two genes is inversely proportional to distance between the two. All these genes which are located in single chromosome constitute a linkage group. They form one group. The number of linkage groups in a species corresponds to its haploid number of chromosomes. Like in our case, 23 linkage groups in human beings. Thus, the linkage proves the possible characteristics with which the characters will be inherited. In that, of course, the types of linkage: incomplete linkage and complete